Hello, third graders, and today we are going to practice what we have been learning about character traits, words that describe what a character is all the time, and look at some characters and add in some feelings. Now, feelings are very different because feelings only happen at a single point in time. Maybe you stub your toe and you feel hurt, but you don't feel hurt for the rest of your life. Character traits are who you are as a person all the time, who they are as a character for a majority of the time. Feelings are just for an instant. So we're going to be adding some of those together today. So we'll be reading a passage and then answering the questions on the side. Watch this whole video, and then I would like you to complete the assignment, or you can watch this video and complete it at the same time if you use the sharing method that we did in our Zoom this morning, which is Thursday morning. All right, let's begin. Two is company. Early Saturday morning, Val and Reese's parents took them to the amusement park. Val and Reese had both wanted to go, but they had not wanted to go together. They could never agree on anything, even at breakfast. Val wanted toast and eggs, Reese wanted cereal and fruit. At the park, they began to argue about what rides to go on first. So their parents decided to separate them. Val went on rides with Mom, and Reese went on rides with Dad. Near the end of the day, the family met up again. "I'll go get the car and pick you up at the front gate," said Dad. "I'll text you when I'm there. But it will probably be about 30 minutes. Mom brought them frozen bananas while they waited. Val nibbled her banana slowly so that it could last longer. She watched at Reese, as Reese, on the other hand, ate his banana in big bites. They even ate differently. Val shook her head. No wonder they never agreed on anything. Reese looked up when he was done eating and asked, "What?" "I wish we could go on one more ride," said Val. "You should have time for one more ride before Dad gets here, but only if you ride together." Val and Reese ran up the line for the roller coaster. Reese grinned at Val. "What?" Val asked. "I could not get Dad to go with me on this one. This one with me," Reese said. Val looked at the large drops of twisty turns and the amusement park's largest roller coaster. She had not been able to get her mom to ride this one either. "Perhaps we are not as different as I thought we were," Val said to her brother. "We both like the same rides." They laughed as they slid into the seat of the roller coaster and prepared to ride. Now, for this part, we are thinking about how they felt. So in different moments, how they felt. In the beginning, how do Val and Reese feel about each other? Now, in third grade, we've talked about this a couple times. We always go back to the text and highlight our evidence. Now, you don't have this tool, but we're going to do it together. So I'm trying to look at the beginning, how Val and Reese felt about each other. So what evidence tells us, I know for sure, that they thought they were very different from each other? So I'm going to see where it might say that. They began to argue who could go on rides first. That's kind of telling me that they were very different. If they were arguing, right? They had opposite opinions. Let's see what other evidence. Again, at the end of this one, it said, no wonder they never agreed on anything. They never agreed on anything. So after looking at the beginning of Two is Company, we can go ahead and try to answer our question. In the beginning, how do Val and Reese feel about each other? They are angry with one another. They do not care about each other. They have respect for each other. They do not like being together. If they argue when they go on rides and they can never agree on anything, that sounds to me like they don't like being together. So that's how they feel about each other at the beginning. They don't like being together. How have Val and Reese changed at the end of the passage? So at the end of the passage, they went on one last ride before Dad picked them up. And let's see, right here that says, perhaps we are not as different as I thought we were. So they agreed on one thing. So let's see what changed. They're tired of the amusement park? No, because they went on another ride. They are very happy to have one another. Maybe, we'll keep that one on there. They want to buy more frozen bananas. We didn't talk about that again at the end of the story. They do not want to go on any more rides. No, because they went on another one at the very end. I think they are very happy they have one another because they both like at least one thing they can go on that ride. Cabin fever. As we're reading through this, I want you to think about Harold's mom. Think about how she is feeling about Harold. Cabin fever. Harold spent a lot of time by himself. He did not choose to be by himself. He lived in the middle of nowhere. His closest neighbors were 5 miles away, and the closest town was 50 miles away. Sounds like a rural community. The only other kid he knew was his sister Tammy, who ignored him most of the time. He did not have any school friends because he did not go to school with other kids. He went to school at home. He often felt very sad. Harold spent a lot of time reading books. He read so much because he liked to learn. He always wanted to know about new things that neither he nor his family had ever seen or heard. However, Harold also read because it kept him from being lonely. He would read his favorite books and imagine the rest of the world was like. Harold also liked to read and pretend he was friends with the people he read about. Harold's dad worried about Harold reading so much. He thought that Harold would leave the family so he could visit all the people and places he read about. Harold's mom, on the other hand, liked the fact that Harold was reading about lots of different things. She wanted him to learn everything he could about the world outside her cabin. So as we were reading, I told you to think about what Harold's mom thought and felt about Harold. At the end, it says that she wanted him to learn everything he could about the world. So I'm thinking that she wanted him to have a good education. The reader can tell that Harold's mom wants him to spend less time reading. No, if she wants him to learn a lot, then she probably wants him to spend more time reading. Wants him to get a good education? Probably. We'll keep that in mind while we're reading through the rest. Wants him to be friends with his sister? It didn't say anything about his mom concerned about him and his sister. Wants him to move out of the cabin? No, it just said that she wants him to learn everything about the world outside the cabin. The correct answer is B. Question number 4. Harold's dad worries about Harold reading so much because, now I have to go back and read this. Harold's dad worries about Harold reading so much. He thought that Harold would leave the family so he could visit all the people and places he read about. So let's think about, why would he be worried about him reading? Because he would leave the family and be interested to see all the things he's reading about. He thinks it will make Harold leave the family. We found evidence right there. Leave the family. So that's a big one. I think that might be it. He thinks that Harold is hurting his eyesight. He thinks it keeps Harold from doing homework. He thinks it keeps Harold from making friends. Nope, because we went back and found the evidence. I know that A is correct. For your assignment today, you will need to go into Study Island and complete those. If you need to reread the text as you're going through them, I would suggest that you reread the text and then you can move on to the next.